Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a bit of a build video. So this actually is the first ever Saiga-12K that I got. It was quite early on actually. I paid a lot of money to get this shipped from overseas. I think I bought it maybe from JK Army and it came over. I've done some modifications to it. This isn't what a normal Saiga looks like. But basically I ended up having a friend break this in a very kind of annoying small way. He was playing around with it and he rammed a mag into it too hard in my backyard and it broke a little clip in there which is on the back, which all it does is basically notifies the inside and the bolt when the magazine is empty. So effectively it still worked, it's all fine. However, it would not get the bolt stop on empty. So I wouldn't get that like click, it would just continue to fire. So that was really annoying for me. And I was like, I love playing with the gas blowback. And one of my favorite parts of playing with the gas blowback is the reload. And not having like the stop and then being able to reload was really, really irritating. So I decided and I ended up basically turning around and saying, I'm going to get another one. So I got another one. I've built that out. That is like my luxury Saiga-12K that I've built. A friend's actually borrowing it right now to shoot a movie. But that was the one where I was like, okay, I love that. So this one I've kind of kept to the side and I kind of did some messing around with it. But my idea really for this was to keep it as an HPA replica. So instead of having it as something I'm going to play with like realistically, it's like, hey, if I want to go outside, if I just want to dump a ton of BBs downrange and I'd rather like, and I want to use it, then I'm going to use this basically as my HPA version. If I break it, I break it. But as I recently got some pieces from Airtac, being this grip primarily, which actually allows you to tuck the HPA line in through the pistol grip, I was like, hey, I kind of like that. And for my HPA version of this Saiga-12K, that probably would be perfect. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out that pistol grip, put the Airtac one on with the extended kind of bottom line coming out. This is going to be a kind of a tech video. I'm then also going to take something I 3D printed, which is this M-LOK rail, super lightweight, and I'm going to put it on here. This was actually one I got from TAP a while ago. It's pretty good actually, to be honest. It's very light. It's kind of that greenish color, and actually it's been very good. I just quite want to test out this, which is my 3D printed, because I've actually made this one. Printed this out of carbon fiber PLA or PLA CF, I think they call it. But basically I'm going to do that. I'm going to install that. I'm also going to put this 3D printed tracer on the end here. Suppressor, which will take a Quark M tracer unit in there. So I'm going to end up putting one of those in. And that is basically kind of what we're going to be doing today. I had to get an adapter plate from Airtac as well to change this out. So I'm hoping by the end of this, we'll have got rid of this handrail. We'll have a suppressor on the end here and we'll replace this pistol grip with a full HPA. And then we'll also install the HPA, Airtac HPA 6mm Airtac HPA adapter for the Saiga-12K. So let's begin. And I think what we'll start with is, I'm also thinking eventually to replace this stock. So if you guys have a stock recommendation that you think I should go with, let me know and I will probably print one. If not, if you think there's something actually I should put here instead, then definitely let me know and I'll probably order the coolest one that I can find. So what we'll probably start doing is, let's do the actual grip first, and then we can get the HPA installed and then move on afterwards to the externals. So I need a flathead, and actually this might be too small, so I might have to go and pause you and get another one. Nope, we're good. So that is basically just going to take this bolt out the bottom. I'm not looking up any of the instructions on this. That's an incredibly long bolt. I'm not looking up any of the instructions on this, so hopefully we don't mess it up, but that seemed relatively easy, to be honest. It does actually have like a little plate inside there, so I don't know if I have to take that out. But what that is meaning now, and I've just dropped the bolt out of there, is we need that, in the nut, is it's basically just a flat plate, so I can put that in. The nut that I just dropped is somewhere here. Imagine that it's like the end of the video because I've just lost the nuts that I needed to actually put this thing in. I should have a spare one, but to be honest. Okay, I'm going to pause you for 1 second just so you don't have to watch. Okay, I found that. That was actually behind my monitor. So I'm going to try and keep... This thing does not like me at all. It's trying to get away. Okay, so I'm going to put these right here. Then I'm going to look at what Airtac have given me, which is... Let's get that out the way. Let's get that out the way. Which is an adapter that goes on here. So that looks like that's just going to go straight on. So that's all good. I'm also going to have to get this line fed in the right way through here. So this needs to be tightened, which it feels like that is. This comes, actually, sorry, this beaver tail is going to have to be removed. So I need to remove this beaver tail off the back here just with that screw, because this is not going to allow that to be in place. It's not like your, it is not like your standard, let me just make sure, it looks like we got another screw there. It's not like your standard AR kind of style, because it's got this back piece here which is too flat. So we're going to need a hex screw, probably this one. I'm always so bad with like numbers and stuff as well, of like, oh, this is an H. Okay, that's slightly too small, which is annoying. Let's have a go with it. Okay, that's taking that out. I shouldn't risk that really, should I? That would be a really annoying thing to lose that. Okay, so we'll put this in here. Also got this nut, so I need to make sure. I don't exactly know what all of these are going to do. So that's going to go there. Let me just see how we're going to line this up. So that's going to be... Wow, this is starting out as a... That's going to be what it looks like, which actually I think is going to be pretty awesome. It's definitely a more vertical grip. It's that like die-free code design with a lot of vertical to it. Let me just see. Am I just going to basically be able to just put that straight through? I'm presuming that I can just attach this. Let's try. Again, if I were you, I would... after you order this, actually read their instructions as opposed to just doing what I'm doing here. And no, so I think that's not going to go in there, but I do think this is going to go in here. Yep, so that's going to put this plate in the way. So we'll go with one of these big boys. Too big. So this hex screw they provided, too big still, wow. This hex screw, so what I will do actually, just especially because this is gas blowback, is I'll end up, once I know this is right, I'll end up thread locking this. So we know we have the right location. Then I think this guy is going to go into here. This is my theory. You know what? I don't know if I've got the base plate for this. They've given me the 2 pins. I don't think they've actually given me the base plate for the bottom of this. So I might need to contact them and ask if that was something they sent in here. That was this one. So let's see if that is going to fit in that gap. Yeah, so this is going to go in there. So I'm going to put this in place there. Perfect. This guy's going to go there. We're going to screw that in place. Make sure that is going in. I think it is. A little bit more. Okay, so that's good. Now what I'm going to need to do is thread this guy, and we'll probably cut this down a bit just so that we know what the, just get a little hook. We'll thread this, we'll cut this down a bit once we put it in, just so we know the length of it. Probably should have threaded this through before actually inserting, or I should have put the tube in before screwing it down, but I've worked it out. Okay, so there is the PTF line. Okay, so now with this guy in place, now one thing I can't do with this is replace this trigger guard. So this actual tube is going to sit along the bottom there. This is going to hook in there, and that's going to click in. So what I'm going to do is replace this tube with this guy. What I could actually do is thread lock that as well if I wanted to. So I'm going to push this guy in, pull this guy out, this little bit of PTFE tube there. We're going to attach this one in here. Push that fully in and then pull that back. We then have that in place. So what that's going to do now is basically mean that I've got this line coming out the bottom and it's completely out the way. So as I'm using this, you can see there, instead of having this line sticking out and coming through there, I now have it located right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut this line down because I don't want it to be this long. And I am going to do that with this. I might not cut it too short yet, just so then I'm being a bit more safe. I'm going to cut that there. Okay, perfect. So that should kind of stick out the end like that. And then I can attach my line to it. I will do another video where I just go through and actually test this properly with the HPA adapter. They definitely haven't given me the base plate for it though, that I can see. I think I have another one that I can probably check on and do that with. So that's going to go there. And then those are some feed lips, just if I need to replace them, which is great. And then what was the other thing they gave me? Which was I think I've got it in one of the other ones, but they gave me on the last one actually like a little clip here, which just went into place to hold that down. So I'm going to leave that there. Oh, the other thing I'm going to try and, actually, am I going to put this on? I don't know. We'll see whether I want to put this piece on there as well, which is the M-Lock foregrip. So now what we can do is, I'm going to put this piece in here. Let's not lose that. Yeah, so they've given me like the actual pins for it, for the base plate, but not the actual base plate. So I'll contact them. I've actually had that, I think, happen like 2 years ago, and they sent it to me like straight away. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm hoping that they'll be all good. We're now going to remove this handrail because I'll do that bit next. And normally if it's the stock handrail, it's not hard to get off. Like you do have to probably just check and look at some of the instructions online. There's a ton of videos on how you can get the stock handguard off, but basically this screw is going to be under where that forward sling point is. So you just have to kind of make sure you're getting that off. This thing just slips off, and that's the one that comes from Tap Airsoft. So definitely check these out. They're really, really nicely made. Like the actual like material, it's kind of obviously 3D printed, but it's like a really kind of, it's like that carbon fiber feeling. I don't know, it's got like texture to it, if that makes sense. Okay, so now this piece I think is going to be going on here. Now I had a kind of equivalent version of this, which was for my like real, not real, but like full metal rail, which was on this one, which I have on my other one. And that is kind of great. And it works, but it's not as, it's obviously a lot heavier than this. And I just need to get a couple of screws to put that in place. So luckily I have a few screws that should hopefully hold this down. I'm going to try and put this one back in so I can line it up and make sure everything's in the right zone. I'm actually going to reprint this, I think, in another more hard-wearing fiber. But this actually is just a good test, like, because all I'll need to do after I've done this, if I want to change it, is pull this one off and put another one in. Is that now biting through? Yep. Just make sure this is lined up. But I do like a very thin M-LOK rail. And my other Saiga 12, like the weight, it is very weighty. Like it's heavy. Didn't used to be. When they come, they're fairly lightweight considering. And my one, which I have as like my main Saiga 12K, that one definitely weighs a lot. So that is that in place. And already like it's just a lot more kind of compact feeling there. This thing is very, very light already. Like this is going to be a very, very good like outdoor shotgun, I think. So I'll put that there. And then I do need to get 2 more screws. And actually I might see if I've got a different screw that will fit that one. Because that is, if you look there, just sticking out ever so slightly from the bottom, and that's going to annoy me. So I'm going to get a couple of screws, and we're going to have to work out what size what is. So let's get this guy out. Let me see what I have here. These are the design that I want more, like a flatter head. This one's got that angle, which I think is very good for sinking in. This Saiga 12 rail, I think, was about $7 to pay for the print file. The actual, so now the good thing is because I've got the print file and I paid for that, if I get this new material, then I can just print it using that. And I don't have to basically, you know, buy a completely different file or go down that route. I can just, that's the wrong way. I can just print it, and I think probably the fiber on here maybe cost me about $6 or $7, maybe not even that, maybe $5-6 maximum. Took about maybe 6 hours to print. Just click and leave it. Okay, so let's see if we can have something of a similar size to this, but in flat. Probably should have pre-prepped this for you guys and like got all the right nuts out and like measured this, but this is a experience for all of us, and we'll do it together. That's too short. This looks about right. So let's see if this will go in. I'll have to switch this screw head because this one's not flat. What are we doing? We're going to do with a hex. As always, guys, if you have any questions on anything here that I am doing, put them in the comments and I will get to them. I literally answer every question on this channel, so if you have any questions at all, just put them there and I'll get to them. Okay, I actually need something a bit smaller than that, shorter it seems. I think that is, oh, it's maybe built for like a lower sitting handrail, the original screw, which I've just pulled out there. So this one is sitting very low, which is why it's sticking out slightly. That's the right diameter. I just need something a little bit shorter. So This is like half the size. I don't know if this is going to be long enough, but we'll try it. This is another thing I've like picked up slowly, is like you need in airsoft teching, let's turn the volume off that. In airsoft teching, Jesus, you need a lot of screws and nuts and different things that, like, I've gone through that whole, like, I'm going to order it from Amazon phase. You know, like, oh, shit, I said a bad word there. I need this, so I'm going to go and order it. And then when I order it, I order like a selection. So like these boxes here are pretty great for that. You know, you're just like, okay, well, I need something around this. I'll get M3 to M6 nuts, and then I'll just do it. And they're relatively cheap, I have to say. Like, they're not expensive to do. Right, do I want to try a same size nut for this, or do I want to try something slightly bigger? I think I might need something slightly chunkier. This is going to be too chunky. Or is it? Should we try it? Again, it doesn't matter as much if I mess this up, because I can reprint. And it's annoying and you have to wait around for it, but it's not the end of the world. I think this might be slightly too thick. Yeah, it's going to split the print, I think. So let's go with the same size. Let's put that down there. Let's go with the same size as the bottom nut and just see if that will... Because I think really it's just going to bite into that lower like holder that we have on the barrel. Need a smaller one of these. Yeah, that's fitting a lot better. However, it's kind of just in place. It's not actually biting into the one below. So it's almost like I need more of a screw for this than I need a... These are even bigger. These are the chunky boys right there. So it's going to hold in place without this, but let me just see if I can just force this in slightly. It's almost like it's just rubbing on that top piece and not actually going down into it. Which I can just look at probably with the... I can look at that with the Dremel and just kind of see if that needs correcting. Okay, so that's going to be fine. Yeah. Okay, so that is now what this thing looks like. We have this carbon fiber style rail on it. It is longer than my SBS, but it is pretty cool in terms of how it feels and looks. It's definitely going to look different. The only thing I need to change is this piece right here, I think. Okay, so now we can move on to the final piece, which is going to be this tracer unit, tracer/suppressor. And what's interesting with this is, so this is printed out of TPU, which is a lot like softer version of the like 3D print. Like it's kind of like what you'd print like Crocs and like shoes out of. Whereas the other stuff's a lot harder, like the PLA. So this, how you're supposed to do it apparently, let me just see how far this goes in, is put it over like this and then screw, and this basically almost is like a traction. So I had to work out really how to print with PLA. I think we're going to be about there. And then I'm presuming this is counterclockwise. I need to... And again, this is kind of like, you know, this is an amateur's thing. Like the person that's printed this, I've paid, I think, like $2 or $3 for it. But it's not like a major company who's putting this into production. It's someone who's designed a file and then And then this is, you know, probably not the most like efficient concept. You know, it's a lot easier to, let's put this here and see how we can. It's not like you would do a production of a, we're going to go this way, I think, aren't we? Thing is, like, lining this up, annoyingly this one is, it's like on the edge of being able to sit into this barrel piece. Like the actual threading of the barrel is right there. So I don't know if this is actually going to go on. I think the problem with this is the threading here is stopping this piece from going on fully. So it's almost like the edge is too thin to have it bite. The other thing I could do actually is just try and see if I can put my other unit on here and then do the, put my Quark M on here and then see if this one fits on the Saiga SBS. Let's do that. Let's try it. Okay, so this is my SBS, and so what I'm going to do now is just take this Quark M. Again, this has a 3D printed rail on it. This is one of those foregrips that I've put on here. I've got the red dot and, sorry, the laser and the flashlight on the front. I've got this Romeo 3 Max SIG sight on the top with a Unity PTS mount riser. You may have seen this one before, but this is my indoor shotgun. So this is what I use indoors a lot. Obviously I could end up HPAing it, but where I play indoors, they don't allow HPA. So I don't know why I'm throwing that over there. I need to get this piece off here, which is actually attached via the exact same thread, the hex key. And then we'll see if this one fits on there, and then if I can mount this one on, because both of these will take the same insert, the Quark M. So it means depending on which one I'm using, I can switch it over. The only thing to mention is that, like, this is going to be my HPA outdoor lightweight Saiga. So I don't really need the tracer functionality on there. Okay, so that will fit on, but I think it's going to have the same issue. Let's have a look. Let's see. So try and control this and not allow it to move down. Let's push it that way. Okay, and then we're going to do a reverse or a counterclockwise. Counterclockwise to tighten it. So again, this just isn't biting in the same. Let me just see, maybe I'll put this in here. Put it over the end. And then I think maybe twist it and just see if that ends up tightening. It doesn't seem like this is gonna tighten. So I think there's an issue just with the design of this suppressor. I mean, it's gonna look pretty cool like that, I think. I mean, that suppressor looks awesome to me, but I don't think it's actually gonna go on. I can try and get to like bite on here because it's not gripping, which means it's just literally rotating around and around. It's like on there from friction. But I can just pull it off like that. So we've got an issue there with just the sizing of this. Yeah, okay, so we'll just try and see if this Quark M fits on here. If not, we'll give it up. I know I left the flashlight on that one. So this, I think, should work. We need to loosen this slightly. Okay, it looks like I need to tighten it in that position there. So again, on this one, it's more for look. I think if I'm using this most of the time, I really am not going to need a suppressor on here. Like, it's not actually going to mean that I'm running a tracer, which is why I use suppressors for most of my replicas. I actually have just, I don't know if you can see there, I've just printed one of these Manta suppressor cover looking things. It's actually a whole suppressor with a 14mm counterclockwise thread in it. All right, let's have a look at that. So that is what this thing's going to look like, which actually does look very cool. It's a lot longer with that suppressor on it, but I've basically now got my HPA. You can't even see this line here. The ability to load in my M4 mags, so I can just put in my little mini PM1s in there. And I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. Now I basically can just plug that in. I'll do another video where I do a full test of this, and you can kind of just see it. I'll probably just do some mag dumps on it and just like put out 2 or 3 of these just with constant HPA. Try not to like over ramp it. But yeah, that is going to be the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this and this was kind of useful in some way. Tap HPA grip there, the dead drop grip, I think they call it. And then the adapter works really well. What I might end up doing is just zip tying this right here. So then it's just kind of like in place. It's not going to move around. And actually my finger's just resting on this soft bit. But it's obviously something that I just like to secure absolutely everything on my stuff. So that might be what I do. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon on the next video, and have a great day wherever you are.